Bioinformatics. In this introductory video for the course, I'm going to go over the syllabus and show you a few things in the Canvas shell to help give you an idea for an overview of the course and to get you started. So this is the Canvas shell, and this main link here is the video that you're watching right now. I'm going to jump over to the syllabus, which you can get to on this shortcut, but down here I have a section, if this is your first time here, that we're just going to work through. So the syllabus link will show you already in the course summary that there are 2 assignments in the coming weeks, and a link to jump over to the actual syllabus. So this is me, Jeff Damuth. My office is the Engineering Research Building, room 430. So even though I'm in the biology department, my office is on the north side of campus in Engineering Research Building. My email, my UTA profile page, the time and place of meetings. Okay, so there's some confusion about this, but there are 2 sections. There's an in-person and an online section. The course is essentially the same for both. All of the content is the same. You can work asynchronously, whether you're in the in-person or the online section. The in-person section is Tuesday, Thursday from 2 o'clock to 3:20 in the Life Science Building, room B27. Because all of the content is online, the videos are recorded, you can work ahead. You are not required, even if you're in the in-person section, to come to class then. Similarly, even if you're in the online section, you can come to those classes. If you're in the online section, though, I'm asking that you notify me by email just to make sure we have room. The B27 is a computer lab in the basement of Life Science Building, where it can only fit about 30 people, and there are somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 people total registered between the 2 sections. So those Tuesday, Thursday meetings will be essentially like office hours. The whole point is going to be for me to help people working through whatever issues they have on the current assignment. And so it doesn't really matter to me whether you're registered for the in-person or the online section. Just if you're in the online section, let's make sure that we have room for you to come. If we don't, there are also office hours on Tuesday from 10 to 11:30 and Wednesday from 3 to 4:30. You can come to my office, or we can meet online in Microsoft Teams. Okay, just let me know if you want to meet on Teams, and I can open a chat room for us to do that, or a video conference, whatever's most convenient for you. Okay. I won't read over the course content and the learning objectives, other than to say that this course is designed for people who have a biology background and limited programming or maybe no programming experience. So we're going to start with the very basics of Unix programming, and then we'll move on to Python programming, and then finally get into algorithms using the Python programming. Okay, for some of you, especially the data science majors, you're already proficient in that environment. You know how to code Python. The first section of the course is probably going to be easy for you. So just be aware that you're more than welcome to work ahead. When we move back over to Canvas, I'll show you how the modules are laid out, and you're free to work ahead on those. Okay. So these are the 3 main objectives that I'm hoping you'll be able to accomplish by the end of the semester. Be able to code at least a little bit in Linux and Python. You'll be able to deconstruct biological questions, here I say molecular genetics questions, and address those computationally. And then finally, you'll be able to do some genome and transcriptome data analysis and interpretation. The prerequisites for the course are intro biology and genetics, although technically you can probably get away if you haven't had those, but certainly they will, when we get to the computational genetics and genomics part, will be very helpful. The text for the course is all going to be made available in Canvas, so there's no book. Hardware and software, you're going to need a computer of your own, so laptop ideally, because you'll want to have that in class, or if you're coming to office hours, so that we can work on that on your computer, because that programming environment you will over the course of the semester become very, very familiar with, and ultimately it will become tailored to you. That said, whether you run Windows or Mac OS or Linux doesn't really matter as long as you have access to a Linux terminal. Scientific computing, data science is almost all under the purview of Unix and Linux. For Mac users, that's a little easier because Mac is essentially a flavor of Unix or Linux. So the terminal application on a Mac is a Linux terminal for all intents and purposes. For Windows users, there's a little bit more energy of activation. I've given some links here to get Windows subsystem for Linux running. I don't have a Windows machine right now where I can test the latest versions or availability for how to turn this on. But if you have issues, I have worked a lot on Windows machines, so I can often help with that. And then I'll show where the question discussion forum board is on Canvas, so hopefully Windows users can help each other out to get a Linux terminal running. Okay. The homework assignments, or the assignments, not all, yeah, well, they're all homework, is split a third. The first part of the course, programming homework. So a lot of these will be in Rosalind. There's one quiz over Unix stuff. Then there's a computational genomics part of the course, 3 to 5 assignments, because it depends on the pace that we go at and whether we run into any problems with the remote computing resources. And then final projects. So this will be part group, part individual work, where we'll be doing some meaningful analysis, probably a machine learning application to transcript analysis, transcriptome analysis, how to cluster transcriptomes using some cool machine learning approaches. Okay, the next section of the syllabus here is a very course overview that is lining up the learning objectives. So back up here, these 3 learning objectives with what we're doing in class. So you can see that first one about coding is what we're going to do for the first 5 weeks. And then we'll have a few weeks on the algorithms part, so how to make biological questions and into computational questions so that you can do some analysis and address those. The specific one that we work on is how do you find the origin of replication in a genome? So that's a biological question that we will learn to approach from a computational perspective, and especially in prokaryotes, some cool ways that you can tell where the origin of replication is purely by having its genome accessible. Okay. And then high performance computing, we'll do some remote computing. And then there's a section on applications. So how do you identify variants in a genome? How do you analyze RNA-seq or transcriptome data? And then finally, the semester project. There will be lots more to say, especially about the semester project as we go. Obviously, these are all different assignments that will have their whole own modules, and I'll show you that. We'll jump back over to Canvas in a second. The institutional information on down, these are all just templates from UTA. These are not unique to this course, okay, but valuable information and resources here for you. So jumping back over to Canvas. So we just went over the syllabus. The first module, really module 0, is laid out a little bit different than the other modules because it gives you a little bit of the background for the course. A lot of this content overlaps with what we just saw in the syllabus, so I won't spend time going back over this, right? Course learning objectives, some stuff about the course design, and expectations that I will have of you. Basically, stay on schedule, and we'll go back and look at the detailed course schedule in a second, and be courteous to each other online, especially. Posting questions, helping each other is great, and I highly encourage you to be helping each other as much as possible, especially because we have such a broad spectrum of computational backgrounds. Okay. Getting started module also has a page about me. My lights just went off. Okay. If you want to know, do some reading, like what is my lab doing? If you want to, so stuff by citation number or what I've been doing recently. So the most recent thing here is a single cell paper looking at Tribolium, which is a beetle, spermatogenesis. Basically, we're trying to look at how sex chromosomes are regulated throughout meiosis. But that's a way that you can see some of the research that my lab is doing now that we've been involved with lately. Okay. This has my phone number. This is my office phone, which I basically don't answer. You're welcome to call and leave a message, but it's way more efficient really to just shoot me an email or text me on Teams. Okay. I often monitor Teams around the clock, but if you text me outside of regular business hours, no promises that I will get back to you until, like, if you text me on Friday night, no promises that I will get back to you before Monday, for example. And a lot of our homeworks are due at 11:59 p.m., so midnight on a Tuesday. If you text me on Teams at 10 o'clock on Tuesday, don't expect me to get back to you before the homework's due. Okay, so I'm just walking through the getting started module here. So the technical requirements, I've already talked about how, especially if you're on Windows, there may be some energy of activation. There was links in the syllabus to get that Linux terminal up and running. The other thing, whether you're Mac, Windows, or Linux, you'll want to download and install Anaconda. You don't really need this until Module 1, Part 4, when we start programming in Python. But, you know, if you have time and you want to get ahead a little bit, go ahead and follow that link. So this will take you to this page to download, and it should recognize your operating system. You don't have to have the Linux operational before you do this. This is a standalone that will greatly facilitate the Python programming section of the course. You will need to have that installed and working before you can complete the Rosalind homework. So Rosalind, I mentioned, is the homework platform that we'll be using. There are 2 steps to get into the course on Rosalind. One is to follow this link to register, so get a username and a login. And then the second one is to enroll in the course. So follow that link, and it says, gives me an error because I'm staff for the class, but you should get to a page like this that lists all the homework problems for you specifically. Okay. As you work through Module 1 and 2, it will be clear because the tutorials specifically work up to, and then give you a Rosalind problem, and then you'll work through that. And then I will assign the points for completion in Rosalind, in Canvas. Okay. Microsoft Office and everything below this, tools and resources for Canvas. None of this stuff is unique to this course. This is all UTA boilerplate to just provide you the links to the various resources at UTA. The only stuff that's specific for our course is this Anaconda and Rosalind part. Okay. More student resources. Again, this is just the next page in the Getting Started module. I think the last thing in Getting Started is this question board. So this is what I was talking about, where if you send me a message and I think it would be useful for the class to know, I may ask you to post it here so that I can respond once and then everybody's got it, so that everyone can benefit from that. And then the next thing is moving over to Module 1. So let me back out for a second, go back to the home page. So here we've covered the syllabus, we've covered Module 0, which is Getting Started. I also want to highlight here this Day 1 Excel sheet. So follow that link and fill this out for me. Okay, this will just give me some background. I like to get to know you. Some of you are I may not meet for a while in person anyway, but this will give me an idea whose lab you're working in, if you're working in a lab, what your preferred operating system is, whether you typically work Windows, Mac, Linux, whatever, and then programming experience. This just helps me get to know what the population of students in bioinformatics is this semester. So go to that page, fill that out. If any of those columns don't apply, like you're not working in a lab or you don't have research interests specifically, it's okay to leave those blank. But definitely fill it in with your information, email, and all that stuff. Look at your course level notification settings. Make sure that you're set to get the announcements for the class. And then we'll jump over to Module 1 in a second. But I wanted to, as long as we're here, right, on the home page, this is the detailed course schedule. Okay, so that course map was a very course week by week, how it lines up with the learning objectives. This is day by day. So it shows you in Module 1, that's going to take the first 5 weeks. This is Tuesday, Thursday, because those are the in-person sections. And then what I expect you to have worked through, okay? Again, I am not going to be in class lecturing on the beginning bioinformatics part 1 on August 24th. I will expect you to have watched the video and tried to work through that tutorial so that in class on that day, I can help address any issues that you're having, okay? And again, that's open to the in-person and the online sections, okay? So you can come to those classes. The reason I'm highlighting this is that this gives you a schedule to know where you should be in the class, like how far should you have worked through. You're more than welcome to work ahead of the schedule, just don't fall behind the schedule, okay? So we're gonna work fast in this class. Right, you could take a whole class on learning to code in Python, a whole semester class. We're going to cover that in a month, 3 to 5 weeks. Okay, so you may feel like if you've not done any programming before, it's going to come fast and furious. You may feel like you're drinking from a fire hose at some points, but rely on your classmates, rely on me, and we will get through it. Okay. Fun stuff. Last thing I want to look at are the modules. All the modules are laid out the same. So at this point in the You only have access to module 1 because I'm still verifying some of the software in the future modules. One of the fun things about bioinformatics is that the software environment is constantly evolving, and sometimes things break. So I'm trying to work ahead all the time so that I can make sure that the path is at least a little bit smoothed out for you. I will show you purposefully some of the errors that happen when things don't work right, because I think that helps you learn how to learn in that environment. But that's why only module 1 is showing right now. By the end of the first week of class, modules 2 and 3 may be available, just so that, especially if you have coding background, module 1 is easy. You can continue to work on ahead. Okay, in fact, let me get out of student view and just show you. So module 2, you'll see each module has its own warm-up, which will give you a video overview, some text just to tell you what that module is all about. And then the real meat of the module is in the videos and media. So here, module 1 has 9 videos. They accompany 6 Word documents. These are tutorials that step by step walk through Unix, walk through Introduction to Python programming. There's a data set here. You'll learn how to unpack this. Yeah, so the main course content is always in that middle section in every module. Whoops. Picked the wrong button. The read and learn that has videos and media. So all the modules are set up the same way. And then in the first module, there's actually a Canvas quiz that goes along with one of the Unix tasks. But these Rosalind homeworks, there's actually nothing for you to turn in on these assignments. All of the homework gets submitted in Rosalind itself, and I just record progress in Canvas. Okay, I'm sure that's not entirely clear at this point because it's just in the abstract, but it will become totally clear as you work through the modules. So don't worry about that if you don't really have a good idea for what that looks like yet. Okay. All right, I think that's it for introduction. That should give you a good overview for sort of how the class is going to go, what the modules look like. And I look forward to meeting some of you on Tuesday, and many of you I look forward to meeting over the course of the semester. I hope you have a great semester and are looking forward to having fun in bioinformatics.